This is the third section, first property of scheme. In this section, we'll give some of the first properties of scheme. In particular, we'll discuss open and close some scheme. This is our focus on the first section. On this section, on the first part of this video is to discuss on open and close of scheme. And later, there are products of schemes. In the exercise, we introduced the notion of constructible subset and studied the dimension of the fiber of morphism. Dimension of the fiber of morphism. A scheme is connected if its topological space is connected with the Zariski topology, for example. A scheme is reducible if its topological space is reducible. Scheme is reduced if for every open U the ring OX. So this is the shape of ring at this moment. Shape of regular function is the shape of ring. The ring OXU has no nilpotent elements, then it's called reduced. Remember we discussed. So for a smooth scheme, it's always normal. Vector is regular. The regular implies normal. By definition, a smooth to first require to be regular. Regular implies normal, and normal implies reduced. This is just by definition. Because normal means your structure shape, localized and prime ideal, and then you evaluate. Sorry, normal just say the stock of your structure shape at any point is integrally closed domain. So a priori, firstly it has to be a integral domain. So of course there should be no nilpotent elements. So where is it stronger than reduce? And a scheme X is integral if the ring is integral domain for every open U. Okay, and actually it's integral if and only if it's both reduced and reduced. We're not going to detail these parts, and we will come back here later, but at this moment we want to say about the closed immersion and open immersion. Of course, there are many interesting things. For example, when we say scheme is Noetherian, what do you think it should be, the definition? Yeah, think about it. Maybe there should be an open cover by spec A, where A is Noetherian. So there should be open cover by a fine scheme which is in the form of spec of some Noetherian ring. Yes, this is called locally Noetherian if it can be covered by an open or fine subset spec AI, which GI is Noetherian. What do you think is called local Noetherian? I will call it Noetherian if it is local Noetherian and also quasi-compact, which means you can find a finite subcover from the cover. But actually, what is beyond your imagination maybe is that locally Noetherian if and only for every open or fine it is. For every open or fine spec A A is another ring. In particular, a fine scheme is a Noetherian scheme if it is Noetherian. So it means if I say let's start with a Noetherian scheme, it means any of its fine subscheme, any is open in the form of a fine scheme is of the form spec of a Noetherian. Actually, this is not stringent as it looks. Actually, you can reduce finally to prove this statement. If X equals spec A is a fine scheme which can be covered by open subset which are spectral in another ring, then it is not. Okay, there's something to prove. And you recall that a fine scheme is just a locally ranged space which is isomorphic to the spectrum of some ring. Okay? Isomorphic as locally ranged space. And a ring space is just a pair X of X consisting of topological space X and a shift of rings of X. And the morphism are given by first the topological space level continuous map, and then level shift of range a map. But if you say it's locally, it means the stock local ring for any point P of this topological space. And the morphism of locally ranged space is as a morphism of range space, but they use to map a local range with the stock to stock is a local homomorphism, which means maximal idea of maximal idea. Sorry, which just means the inverse image of maximal idea is maximal idea. I say the maximal idea, okay? As we said, we at this moment we care about the open and closed subscheme. An open subscheme of scheme X is a scheme. Okay, first a scheme whose topological space is an open subset of X, and whose structure shape is isomorphic to the restriction of the structure shift of X on E. An open immersion is a morphism as denoted by F from X to Y. These are two the morphism of scheme, okay, which induces an isomorphism of X as locally ranged space with an open subscheme of Y. An open subscheme is described as here, okay? So if you have scheme X, the immersion is a morphism of scheme, which induces an isomorphism with an open subset of Y. For example, if you can prove it is okay, then this is open immersion. Note that every open subset of a scheme carries a unique structure of open subscheme. The open subset of X carries a scheme structure, just this is a scheme structure. Then closed immersion is a morphism of scheme such that f induces a homeomorphism of the topological space onto a closed subset of the topological space X. So it means the topological space of Y is homeomorphic to some closed of X homeomorphic, and the induced map of sheaf is surjective. This is a closed subset. This is called closed immersion. F from Y to X of scheme, morphism scheme, is closed immersion if first the homomorphism in the topological space level is homomorphic of the topological space of Y with the closed subset of the topological space of X. And furthermore, the level of morphism of sheaves, it is surjective. A morphism of sheaf is surjective if and only if its stock is surjective for every point. It's not the same as a section on each open. The morphism between the section is surjective. It's not. Okay, a closed subscheme of scheme X is an equivalence class of closed immersion. Okay, what is the equivalence class? Two closed immersion are equivalent if there is an isomorphism. Commutes with the diagram. Okay. So you see what is closed immersion? This is closed immersion. A closed immersion is a morphism of scheme satisfying certain relation, and the image under this F is really closed to the topological space of X, and we know how are their functions relating to each other. How are the regular functions relating to each other? It is the regular function on U of X and the regular function. I bring back U, then you add it on Y. There's some certain relation. That's called regular function. And if you give me two morphisms, I say got the same closed immersion. If define like here, your isomorphism making the diagram commutes. Let's see some example. Let A be a ring and let small a be an ideal of this ring. Let X be spec A, the whole space, and let Y be the quotient ring of the take spec. Then the ring homomorphism from A to A, the induced morphism scheme, because the category of fine scheme is categorically equivalent to category of ring of R algebra, of A algebra. Okay. Categorically equivalent to the category of rings. Then the ring homomorphism induces a morphism scheme which is a closed immersion. Here we do not have to describe or say to give a definition of how is it mapped on the structure shape, because we already know should be in the second section of this chapter that, just as I said, the category of affine scheme is categorically equivalent to the category of rings. So it means that once you give the ring homomorphism, then not only on the topological space level, you know the spec A to spec B, how is it mapped as topological space, but also you know on the level of shape, how is the OY mapped to F lower star OS. It is totally determined by ring homomorphism. Okay, and here I claim if your ring homomorphism is surjective, like this case in the case of quotient, then your group, your scheme morphism is closed immersion. The map F is a homomorphism of Y onto the closed subset, which is zero set of A inside X. And the map of structure shape is surjective because it is surjective on the stock. More precisely, their stocks are just localization of A respecting A on the point, if the point is P, prime ideal of X, say P, and for spec A over A, its localization of structure shape is just A quotient A to the localization. So be more precise, it should be P is in the prime ideal of X, then the stock should be this should be isomorphic to A localized and P. This is pushing it by the localized P, but the image inside this ring. So if we call this pi, there should be pi B. Should be still surjective. Setting X to its equivalence, represent equivalence class. It's representative. There should be detail. Because we know the ring A and its quotient ring, the ideal, there is a bijection. The ideals containing A and the ideals inside A, there is bijection. Or I should write okay, so it's obvious it's surjective. Just write in this language is okay. Because we know localization is the exact function. So we localize at p prime ideal of A, and then we got the exact sequence. Which tells you okay. Thus, for any ideal of A, we obtain a structural closed subschema on the closed set. In particular, every closed subset Y of X has many closed subscheme structures. So as a topological space, we are constructing some closed subscheme. Or in other words, the equivalence class of closed immersion. So if we start with ideal, then it's integral closure. It's closure is a closed set of X. We just have to give it a spectral structure. Of course, A is okay. Spec A quotient small a gives you closed immersion. But for any other, A still works. Just make sure A is Y. In fact, every closed subscheme structure on closed subset Y will find scheme X arises from ideal in this way. There are exercises. When we have time, we should treat it carefully. Every closed subscheme structure actually every closed subscheme structure on closed subset Y of an affine schema X spec A arises from an ideal in this way. Means every closed subscheme of an affine scheme is of the form spec A ready for some ideal A. Okay, it's a very short introduction into the closed immersion itself and the open immersion. Just to have a feeling of how the immersion immersion is. The topological space is just a homomorphic. There are more information put on the structure shape. Let's repeat once. An open immersion is a morphism which induces an isomorphism X with an open subschema Y. Okay? The topological space is isomorphism and the structure shape there is isomorphism. And the shape is a morphism of shape with an open subscheme of the variety, which means its topological space is an open subset and its structure sheaf is isomorphic to the structure sheaf of X restrict on this open. And the closed immersion is first the topological space gives you homomorphism onto a closed subset of the topological space X, and in the level of structure shape it's surjective. But in the case of affines, simply is simply that your y is a fine scheme of the form spec equation by isomorphic. Isomorphic to this as local range space. This is not very nice for me every time it's isomorphic to something, isomorphic to something. I will give a more precise description, I think, and maybe reference to that project later.